So here's the disclaimer again. I'm sorry for my voice. I'm actually a little bit sick, so this is gonna sound a little shittier than normal. One thing I wanted to talk about with you guys, which I think I've alluded to a few times, is being a furry in New York. I'm going to be talking about my experience specifically, so if yours is different, cool. But I'm just sharing my personal experiences, some of the challenges, some of the upsides, and what you can expect if you ever want to come chill in New York and fursuit or hang. By the way, if you ever come to New York and you are a furry and you want to hang out and just chill, you can always hit me up on Telegram as @RageHound. I love meeting new people. If you ever want to go out to an event, I don't know a lot of furry events, but I would love to take you out to a concert. I've actually had a great chance to talk to Altreus, who's another furry, and he got to come out here and hang and see what my city's all about. So if that's ever something you're interested in, just hit me up either in the comments, Twitter DMs, wherever. Would love to show you my fair city in all of its glory. Yeah, this is just my experience. Mine might be different than yours if you're also a New York City fur, but I figured I'd give you some of the highlights and the not so great bits about being a New York City furry. Alright, so I know I have definitely talked about being a New York City furry before, but I didn't really say that much. I've kind of alluded to it here and there, but I wanted to give you guys my experience on being a fursuiter and a furry that lives in New York City. I wanted to give you kind of my experience, what you could ever expect to get if you decide to come to our fair city. Now I'm centered. And you know what my experience has been like, because it's got its ups and downs, and it's definitely a really cool place to live, but there's definitely some stuff to keep in mind if you ever want to come here, and I'll go through some of those right now. Okay, let's go. All right, so what's it like being in New York City? Well, for starters, let's go to the community. The community is pretty small and pretty quiet and a little hard to find. If you first move here and you're a furry and you're not really sure how to meet new people, that's completely normal because it is very rare to see us out and about fursuiting, which I'll get to later on why. And it's not a very rare occurrence to bump into many furries here. I know there's that furry event thing where you draw upon your hand that's coming up or has happened. I'm really bad at remembering stuff. But let's just say you're not going to see a ton of paws because even though it's a huge city, it's not a huge community here that I am aware of. I have tried to find several New York City furs. Typically what happens is they're just outside the city, they're in the far reaches of the boroughs, and they tend to be a very quiet community. So I've actually only bumped into 2. And even those are pretty quiet and pretty on the down low about their furry activities. The reason being is even though New York is if you can make it anywhere, you're great, but not a lot of people are open about it. So it's definitely a small, quiet community that is not super in your face about their furriness. I don't know if that's typical in most major cities. I know Seattle has a pretty cool community out there. I've only been out there as a gloving representative. I've never gone like as a furry with like my fursuit and stuff. But as far as New York is concerned, it's pretty on the down low. So if you need to meet New York City furries, you're gonna have to do some research like I did, poke around. There is an upstate furry group on Facebook, which has been really great at meeting new people. I've been able to meet some more people that are in my community that are really chill, but there's just not a lot of us here that are very like vocal about it. So it's hard to meet new people in the community out here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It does take a bit of digging, but once you find a few people, it's actually a really chill community to be in. Like I said, I really only know 2 or 3, so when I get to see them, I see them, but it's admittedly pretty rare, which is why I do these videos so often. So events in New York City, there aren't any. There really aren't any dedicated furry events that I have been able to find in New York City. Specifically, I know upstate has a few events. I know Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania has some events. I know there's some like quieter events out maybe in like Connecticut or something, but in terms of the city itself, there's not really much here, and the reason for that is overheads on buildings are very high. I will not tell you how much I pay in rent, but I will tell you it's about as much as a fursuit, which is why I have partials, because shit's expensive. But I have not been able to find a dedicated furry event. And there's a good reason for that. I'll get to it in fursuiting, don't you worry. But in terms of events that are fursuit friendly, we do have New York City Comic-Con, which happens roughly in October, and I know I've seen a bunch of furries come through there because it's one of the few times you can go fursuiting in public without much issue in New York City. Typically, you do have some issues if you try to fursuit in the city, which, again, I will get to. In terms of other events, Halloween is a great time that you can actually go meet more people out in suit, because your average general public will just think it's a costume and not really bug you too much because, you know, it's Halloween, everybody's in costume, who cares? But in terms of dedicated event for furries, there's not much, really. I typically will sometimes wear fursuits at events when it's a club that I know really well. Webster Hall has been unbelievably welcoming of all my furry paraphernalia. Love you guys. Been with you for the past like 4 or 5 years, going on strong. Love you guys to pieces. I actually wore Helly to a show at Figure, and Figure thought her face was so dope. He actually like played with it. I don't think I have pictures anymore, but he thought it was really cool. The staff is really cool. A lot of them are holy shippers. They see a lot of crazy ass shit all the time. But in terms of like events, I haven't found any. If you know of any that I haven't found yet, leave them in the comments, because I have not yet found a dedicated furry event in this city, and I would love to go to one. I really, really would. So, some of the pros and cons of living in New York City. Pros. You can find food almost everywhere. You can find water almost everywhere. You can get places really, really quick. The subway system here is A1. It is great. It's not always on time, but it is really, really, really convenient to get around the city, and it's not too expensive. I know they're raising the fare again, which is so annoying. But admittedly, it's a lot better than having to drive everywhere. I know some other cities don't have the best public transport, but here, if you're going to an event, if you do decide to do like Comic-Con in suit, the subway is wonderful. There are cabs everywhere. There are buses everywhere. We have Uber. We have Get, which is like Uber for downtown. We have Lyft. We have Via. Feels like every single week we're getting a new app for getting cabs, because it's not like the movies. You don't just like and magically get one. You kind of have to fight for it here. Depending on what block you're on, you either will flail like a balloon animal and get one in like 10 to 15 minutes, or you'll just do the swan dive into traffic and maybe someone stops and maybe someone doesn't. Please don't do that. It's not safe. I've done it twice. It's not fun. The one thing I will say that is a con is if you are able to fursuit, and again, I'll get into that later, people are not used to it. People are used to the Times Square performers who will charge you money to take pictures with them. Be very careful. If you come here and you come to Times Square and you see like Olaf from Frozen, you're just like, oh my god, I want a picture. Be aware it's going to cost you like 20 bucks. Similarly, if you are able to go fursuiting here, which is very hard to do, please be aware that tourists will pretty much expect that you're going to ask money if you want to take pictures with them. So just keep in mind that if you're trying to like have fun with their kid or take a picture, in the back of their head, they think you're one of the New York Times guys that are going to ask them for, the Times Square guys, they're going to ask you for money. If you have to break character just to let them know, no, this is just for fun. I'm a safe person. I'm not asking you for money. Your kid seems to like my suit. I just want to play patty cake. They're usually okay. It's usually fine, but just be aware there's going to be some apprehension if they see you running. Okay, it's working again. Okay, my camera cut out. But as I was saying, one of the other cons in the city is, people are going to expect that you want money from them. You might, but if they think that you're trying to ask for money, they may be more hesitant to come up to you if you're in suit. Another con is the city is loaded with tourists, so walking around with a fursuit head is unbelievably difficult. It's really hard to see especially when there's just like a zillion people around you at all times. Just be aware that your visibility is going to be extra bad, especially with stuff like traffic, bikes, people trying to see if you want to go up to the Empire State Building even though you're wearing a fursuit head, like all kinds of crazy shit. Additionally, it's loud. I don't know if you guys can always tell from my videos, but it's really, really loud here. So if you're sensitive to like sounds and stuff, you know, get yourself some headphones and like play a little bit of white noise. It makes it a little bit easier to deal with when you first get here. It is very loud, no matter where you stay. If it's for New York Comic Con or visiting someone, it's very, 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 very loud. So you're gonna hear car sirens, people yelling, all kinds of shit. So it's gonna be loud. Additionally, this city literally never sleeps. It's not a joke. The city is always a live wire unless you're in like a not so great area. If you are somewhere at like 3 in the morning and you don't hear any sound, that's not really a good thing. The city is usually extremely loud. So if you have sensitive hearing, or I know some people who have like autism or other, you know, mental conditions are a little more sensitive to light and sound, stay away from Times Square until you're acclimated. It will set off anything in your system. If you are easily induced into seizures, stay away from Times Square until you're ready, or go with a very, very good friend. Take breaks and just breathe, because this city is a bit of a sensory overload. If you come for Halloween, please be aware that this city loves to drink and smoke. Yes, there you will probably smell weed quite a bit in the city in different parts. I actually live in a pretty decent part, but you know, depending on where you're walking, you'll probably catch a whiff of weed, vape smoke, some drunk guy's breath. Also be aware that catcalling is a pretty big thing here. If you are female, at some point you'll probably hear, "Hey mommy, what up? Can I smack that?" Yeah, just ignore it. I know your first instinct is to tell them to go F off. Don't provoke it unless they actually threaten you. Just, you know, ignore them and let them do their thing. So yeah, to sum up, pros and cons of New York City. Pros: you can get a lot of food. The food's usually really, really good. You can get around really easily. It's usually pretty cheap. Pretty great city. Cons: as you can hear, it's really, 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 really loud. So even for me recording videos, it's really hard to soundproof this room. It's damn near impossible. You also have a lot of stuff going on, so if you're sensitive to lights and sound, this is probably not a good city to come by yourself. Make sure you come with a friend you trust. Additionally, the really only two places I've ever really been able to fursuit safely are NYCC and Halloween. Just be aware that both of those also can be very loud, very crowded, more so than a fur con because it's a little more concentrated. And getting to and from the event, while cheap and easy, may pose some problems because, you know, people here aren't used to seeing fursuiters or furries, and those who do sometimes don't choose the nicest words to say at us. So if you get nasty words or sexual advances or catcalling, just ignore it. Stay with a friend. Get somewhere safe. It's kind of normal here. I hate to say that, but you know, it's actually just safer if you ignore it unless it turns into a problem. And then your best friend is the old NYPD. If you're in a fursuit, just make sure you take it off. You are not actually going to be very good with the fursuit on. I'm about to go into that with fursuiting in this city, but you know, take the head off. Talk to an officer if you explain the situation, like you're new here, it's really loud, you don't feel super safe. Most of the NYPD in this city will walk you to a safe location, take you to a precinct and get you a coffee till you'll feel better. I'm dead serious, they've done that for me before. And they will try to get you sorted into a situation where you feel safer. They're great people. They don't get enough of a good rap because of, you know, social media, but NYPD is your friend in this city. If you ever feel in trouble, go make friends with the nearest officer. They are usually wicked chill about it. Except for fursuiting, which is what we're going to get into right now. So fursuiting in New York City is tricky. Technically, it is not illegal to walk around with a mask on. technically. However, be advised that it is not the best idea to do without consulting either a couple friends or getting a safe group with you. Why is this? Well, as you might know, like with instances like Pussy Riot and other like masked groups and historically like gang groups who do like masks and bandanas, it's not typically well received. So, I have some exact wording that I'm going to put in the next like little snippet to express exactly how that works. So let's take a quick look at that. So I took this from a Slate article. Now this goes over the exact, I guess, mumbo jumbo of how New York penal law regarding masks works. So, as according to this Slate article, which I can link below, pretty much, no, according to New York penal law, it's not necessarily illegal for like one of you to wear it, but where it gets kind of tricky is if you congregate in public with 2 or more people while each wearing a mask or any face covering which disguises your identity. This law has been in existence since 1845, which dates back to when tenant farmers were not happy about the lowering of wheat prices, dressed up as Indians, which I assume they mean Native Americans, covered their faces with masks in order to attack police anonymously. Again, like I'd mentioned, there are some exceptions, such as Halloween and other that are deemed appropriate by the city. Now, what does this mean for fursuiters? It means that if there is a singular one of you in a fursuit, you may or may not be okay. The real crux of this issue is if you are congregating in public with 2 or more people. This would kind of constitute around the lines of a fur meet. If a bunch of you are in fursuits, standing around in costumes that cover your face, that could be seen as a breach of the penal law. Okay, so according to the exact penal law, and I will link this as well down below, this falls under the terms of loitering. So technically, loitering is basically remaining in a public place for the purpose of gambling with cards or other gambling paraphernalia, whatever. However, it also specifically goes into being masked in any manner disguised by unusual or unnatural attire or facial alteration, and it's specific to loitering itself. So where this gets kind of tricky is what it technically says is basically it refers specifically to congregating in a public place, except that such conduct is not lawful when it occurs in connection with a masquerade party or like entertainment, i.e. Halloween, when such entertainment is held in a city which has promulgated regulations in connection with such affairs. Permission is first obtained from the police or other appropriate authorities. So technically, in order to congregate in your fursuit, you will need to contact proper authorities and I believe get a permit to do so. So while fur meets might be okay under this very specific provision, it also might not, so you have to be kind of careful. Okay, so through pure technicality, if you are by yourself or with another person who is not in fursuit, you might be okay. I recently did a photo shoot with Helly. I was the only masked person in the shoot, so NYPD did not bother me. But to be safe, if you do want to fursuit in this city, grab someone who knows the lay of the land. If you ever want to come fursuiting with me in the city, I will happily be your eyes and ears out of suit to ensure that there are no issues that arise. I typically will not fursuit with other fursuiters without trying to see if there's a way to get a permit. The reason for this being is because of this old law that dates back to some pretty not great incidences of people dressing up and robbing people. Obviously, we're not going to rob anyone, but it's not advised to go fursuiting alone in the city with a bunch of your friends in suit. Make sure you have some people out of suit to help you. The reason being is if a police officer sees a bunch of you and you're all in toony cute suits, like, you might skate by like okay, but it's never a bad idea to be safe about it. If you guys want to take turns being in suit, that could also work. If you're trying to shoot a video, I know different YouTubers like Alexander Fox and a few others like to do like out and about fursuiting videos. Make sure that at least one person in your group is not in suit. Typically, you have to get a permit to do that kind of thing in the city. The reason being is, honestly, NYPD doesn't really know what you're doing, and this, as the first thing they see, is kind of a lot for really anyone. And the only other instances that they have seen costumed fuzzy characters is, like I said, Times Square, where most of those characters are trying to get money. Are they legal or not? No one is entirely sure. I would lean towards probably not, because they probably don't have permits. Otherwise, they would charge a shitload more than $20. But fursuiting in New York is kind of tricky, which is why you're not going to see a lot of fur meets in the city because of this particular elderly law. Do I think it is entirely fair to have this law? Actually, yes. Because if you think about it, you have all kinds of people who wear masks for whatever reason, and sometimes they're not always up to all good stuff. Sometimes they're up to no good. So it is nice to have this protection in place for, if some masked individual causes something bad, but it, obviously it does make it harder for fursuiters. Now, like I said, I've had some run-ins with NYPD, which have been a little awkward, where I have actually been fursuiting by myself, and I've been asked to take the mask off. In any major city where they ask you to remove your head, comply. I don't care how much magic you ruin. I don't care how devastating it is to little children that really think you're a dog. Take it off. Typically, tough city cops are not going to have a whole lot of sympathy for your creative design and your character performance. They just want to make sure that you're like a safe, good person, not doing unsafe, bad things. So I've had to take my mask off a few times for NYPD and explain, this is just a character, I am just walking around, I am not causing any trouble, I can keep it off if that would make you feel more safe, and 9 times out of 10, I am told to keep the mask off. This is just a thing. It's just a thing that happens in the city. If you fursuit in a smaller local area where they know what fursuiters are and they're pretty chill with it, sometimes works out in your benefit, but here they don't have a lot of sympathy. Typically, the only real times you can fursuit really free of any legal issue is at New York City Comic Con and on Halloween. But Halloween also brings in a whole bunch of other issues which you just want to be aware of. Typically on Halloween, we have had in the past a Halloween parade, which is a really great place to meet other costumers, not necessarily furries, who are very attentive to the amount of work you have put into a costume and are pretty good about making sure that no one messes it up. I've walked the parade as Helly before. It was a really great experience. I had some really cool people around me that made sure I didn't get jostled too bad, and then I went to a concert and got punched in the face, but But if you are going to fursuit in the city, make sure you grab a local who knows the area, because it's also not safe to go fursuiting in certain areas after dark. This is a beautiful city that never sleeps, but that does not mean it's a beautiful city all the time. Sometimes areas of this city are unsafe at night, and you definitely want to have a local who knows which street is okay to stand on and which street is not okay to stand on late at night in costume. Again, I had experience with this. I live in a pretty safe area. I'm right around the Empire State Building. It's actually right there. It's right there next to my building. Well, not next to, a few streets down, but you can see it pretty easily. And there's one street that is real safe to walk home on, and there's one street that is not safe to walk home on, and they are pretty much 1 block away. And if you're not from here, you would not know that. And if you are from here, you might know that, but if you're in fursuit not paying attention, you can easily just go right down the street and not be safe. So, fursuiting in New York City. You can do it. It's a little tricky. It requires doing a little bit of research and making sure you're with a good set of people and being aware that you might have to break the magic like 5 or 6 times just to put people at ease. Also, keep in mind that if you are going to fursuit in this fair city, if you go to Times Square, people might think you're asking them for money, so they may not like it so much. But if you're polite and respectful to everyone, 7 times out of 10, they'll take it really well. You may get called some ugly words. It's a big city, which means there's a lot of egos and opinions. Some venues are chill with costumes. Some are not. On Halloween, I know for a fact that Webster Hall pretty much lets anything fly as long as they get to search it and make sure it is safe. The Halloween parade is a great opportunity to experience like almost fursuiting with other safe people in your general vicinity. I believe the Pride Parade is also pretty welcoming. That community is just welcoming in general, but if you're interested in fursuiting in that, I would suggest reaching out to any of the organizations that participate each year. Sometimes they're good about it, and then sometimes because of the mask law, they're a little on the fence. You just have to take your chances there. But fursuiting is not impossible here. It's just not the easiest thing, which is why I don't do it very often, because it takes a lot of setup, such as getting a safe crew to roll with, making sure you've got enough cash on you for water, because most stands here are not going to take credit card. So if you can stock up on water first, that's a little smarter. If you can camelback it, that's even more suggested. You can fursuit places like Central Park pretty safely because it's not as densely populated, but just be aware that NYPD will probably stop you there too, just to make sure you're not doing anything weird. Like that's kind of the motto here. Like you can do it, but just be besties with NYPD, because you're probably going to confuse the living heck out of them with whatever your costume is. If you have a spoopy costume, I'm just going to say this for your own safety. Try not to fursuit at night unless it's Halloween and you have safe people around. We have a very large homeless population, and I can't guarantee that everyone on the street is in their best state of mind. So if you have a toonie suit, you might be okay, but if you have like heli, which is a skull face, at night, that's how I got punched in the face, because I don't think they were quite in the right frame of mind. I think the lights were on and nobody was home. So just be very, very careful. And yeah, that's fursuiting in New York City for you. So that is my experience about being a furry in New York City. I hope this was helpful, and like I said before, if you ever want to come visit me in New York, I am very open to meeting new people. I'm very down to collab with pretty much anyone. Pretty soon I will have the roof open, so I'll be able to do some really rad videos upstairs with the view of the city, which will be sweet, but it's not open yet, so I can't do it yet. If you are ever interested in coming to this city to collab on video or fursuit, or you just want me to show you around and take you to the best like insider places that us New Yorkers know, absolutely hit me up. I am on Telegram, Twitter, Facebook, and Furry Amino and Fur Affinity. Woo! So if you have any interest in seeing my fair city with me, or taking a quick chance to suit safely, or even collabing on a video in or out of suit, though I will mention if it's out of suit, I will be wearing a mask, because I do not like to show my face at all on the internet whatsoever. It's just a personal choice. I don't want to completely ruin the magic for you, so I will try very hard not to. But yeah, I will be uploading also more loving videos, and if you liked that first video, I can show you more of the techniques I use and how to do them. Admittedly, I have some holes in my gloving learning, so if you want to see more great gloving videos and how-tos, go over to Glove Furs on Facebook and on Twitter, or ask to join our Telegram group and we will happily let you in so you can learn more great tips and tricks. And then if you guys have any ideas for the next video, please leave them in the comments. We are getting so close to 1,000 subscribers. I think we're at like 849 at the moment, which is so amazing. I never thought you guys would ever follow my channel. I'm in complete shock. But if you guys want me to do something really big and really special for 1,000 subscribers, tell me in the comments. The only thing I will not do is a face reveal. I am very sorry. It's just not my thing. Additionally, I will be going to EDC Vegas 2017 this year. I will have my own room and I will be happy to trade light shows and party with you and dance and have a good old time. I will be doing a outfit reveal for that event. I don't entirely know how because my room is pretty dark. But once I get all of my outfits assembled, I will do a day by day, so you'll know exactly what to find me in day 1, 2, and 3. Just as a quick preview, I will be wearing 2 of my candy masks to EDC Vegas. If you can guess which 2, I might throw in some freebies for you guys. I might just talk to some of my friends over at eamazinglights.com or Dirty Cats Designs and hook you up with diffusers and a nice set of lights. But only if I see you at Midwest Fur Fest or EDC Vegas. So if you can figure out which 2 masks I will be wearing based on my characters, which candy masks, I might just hook you up. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Additionally, if you can guess what my newest outfit will be, I might just take you out for a drink at EDC Vegas if you're of age, or I will take you out for a drink at MFF 2017 if you're of age. If you're not of age, I will buy you a seltzer or a soda, or you know what, fuck it, I'll buy you something from Starbucks if you want. I can't get you the unicorn thing because it's like gone, but I will get you like the most beautiful Frappuccino you've ever seen in your life, unless you're lactose intolerant, I'll find something to get you. But anyways, to recap, guess my 2 candy masks for EDC Vegas, I might hook you up. Guess my new outfit for EDC Vegas, which is coming from Dirty Cat Designs, and I might hook you up. Leave me suggestions for new videos when I hit 1,000, and I might just do it. And have a super duper awesome day. I've had some people ask where my clothes are from. This is my roommate's, so if you can see it, see if I can tilty tilt. This is a really cool hoodie. This is from Super Dope on Etsy. They make really cool anime looking things, and for the Seile hoodie that I've had in other videos, that is from Sugoi Prints on Etsy. I can link them down below if you want. I don't really know if you care. And then for those who have been asking, even though I did a video on it, Cupcake is made by furfancycostumes.com. Not the WebStarts one, that's her old website. Make sure you get the new one. This is her new puppy paw pattern. It is cute as shit. This is one of her really cute toony bases with follow me's. These eyes were done extra special by Victoria. I love the shit out of them. They're the cutest things ever. And then she's got a super sparkle fur bit in the back. If you want to get on her list or find out how she makes fursuits, etc., etc., I do believe she has a Telegram channel, but she is also on Facebook, and she's also on Twitter, and I think she's also on Fur Affinity, and she's also on Furry Amino. And I can link all that shit below because I know you're going to ask. But yeah, that's all I had for today, guys. Look forward to my next gloving video, which will be coming up pretty soon. And if you have any music that you would like me to do a light show to, just type that in the comments and I'll do that too. I take requests. I love you guys so much. All right, have a great day. Bye!